The taste. That's the first thing. It's always there, clinging to the back of the throat. Stale air, recycled for 1,000 years, thick with the ghost scent of uncounted souls and hot metal. You learn to tell the days by the taste. Today there's a coppery tang, mixed in with the usual ozone and lubricant. That means the plasma conduits on deck Gamma 7 are leaking again. It means the overseers will be angry. It means someone's shift is about to become a short, bright, silent scream. You pray to the throne it isn't yours. You never see the stars. The priests say the God Emperor's light guides the ship, a golden beacon in the dark. Down here, in the guts of the Emperor's vow, the only light is the angry red pulse of the alarm strips, or the cold, dead glow of the phosphor moss that grows in the damp. The ship is the world, the deck is the ground, the ceiling is the sky, and the constant, bone-deep hum of the drives. That is the only God that has ever answered your prayers. It means you are still alive, for now.
So the official record speaks of fleet movements and resource tithes, of great men and their grand ambitions. But the archives also contain the faint, desperate vox whispers of the uncounted souls who serve on those fleets. This report, designated RT/ECON-KT774, will attempt to reconstruct the reality of that service. We will analyze the brutal economics and feudal society of a rogue trader's dynasty, not from the gilt throne of the bridge, but from the rust-stained deck plates of the lowliest crew member. We will seek to answer a simple question: what is the texture of a single anonymous life spent in the service of a rogue trader's ambition? The official chronicle of the Koronus Expanse, as disseminated by the scribes of the Administratum and the heralds of the great dynasties, is a tale of heroism, discovery, and righteous profit. It is a narrative designed to inspire investment and encourage enlistment. It is a story told to the subjects of the Imperium, a simplified and glorious history that bears only a passing resemblance to the truth.
Hark! For the light of the God Emperor extends even to the darkest voids. In the year 997 of the 40th millennium, the brave rogue trader Purity Lathamon, guided by his divine will, charted the perilous passage known as the Maw, opening the untold riches of the Koronus Expanse to his faithful servants.
The official record states that this discovery triggered a righteous gold rush. In response to this opportunity, the High Lords of Terror, in their infinite wisdom, began issuing warrants of trade, granting their most ambitious and loyal subjects the authority to claim these new worlds for the Imperium. To facilitate this grand endeavor, the Imperial Navy established the mighty bastion of Port Wonder, while the free port of Footfall rose as a testament to the indomitable spirit of imperial commerce.
From this call to glory, great heroes emerged. The visionary Sebastian Winterscale, who with but a single cruiser and an unshakable faith forged an entire realm from the raw chaos of the Expanse. He brought order where there was none, establishing Winterscale's realm as a beacon of imperial strength.
The chronicle continues, detailing the great dynasties as paragons of imperial virtue. Caligos Winterscale, the ferocious heir to Sebastian's legacy, is framed as a noble warrior king, his love for a worthy enemy a testament to his martial spirit. Aspis Corda is depicted as a shrewd and pious protector of imperial interests, her wars against pirates and reavers a celebrated crusade. Trade Admiral Yonquin Saul is lauded as a merchant prince, his vast fleets bringing the light of commerce and the imperial creed to the darkest corners of the void.
Even in the face of adversity, these great dynasties stand united in purpose. When their interests clashed over the world of Lucian's breath, they did not descend into petty conflict, but forged the noble Nephium Compact, a testament to their shared devotion to the prosperity of mankind. Let their example be a lesson to all, for profit, for glory, for the Emperor.
This is the official history, a clean, simple narrative of brave heroes, noble ambitions, and righteous expansion. It is a story told in the high spires of hive cities and the gilded halls of planetary governors. It is a story that is, in every meaningful way, a lie. To find the truth, we must descend. We must leave the bridge and travel down through the decks, past the officers' quarters, past the armories and the chapels, down into the deep, dark, unrecorded heart of the Voidship itself. Our subject is designated K-881. He is a lower decks rating serf, assigned to a maintenance gang on the Winterscale flagship, the Grand Cruiser Emperor's Vow. He is 18 Terran Standard years old. He has never seen a sky. His parents and their parents before them were born, served, and died on this vessel. His world is 5 kilometers of steel, ceramite, and decaying machinery. His story is the story of the tens of thousands who served as the human fuel for the rogue trader's ambition.
The shift chime is a dull metallic clang that echoes down the corridor. It doesn't wake you. You're never really asleep. The hum of the drives is too deep. The shudder of the hull too constant. You just move from a state of exhausted stillness to exhausted motion. The Hab unit is a coffin with a door, a bunk, a waste grate, and a nutrient paste dispenser that sputters a grey, tasteless sludge that smells faintly of recycled chemicals. It's better than what the press-ganged get. They say the press-ganged are fed the processed dead. You try not to think about it. The corridor is a river of grey-clad bodies, all moving in the same direction. The air is thick with the smell of unwashed flesh, cheap synth ale, and the ever-present ozone. You keep your head down. You don't make eye contact. The lower decks are a web of kin brotherhoods and clan tattoos. The men from the engine shrouds, their skin baked red by the plasma glow. The gunnery crews from the macro cannon decks, half deaf and communicating in a complex sign language. The pipe scourers from the bilge, their faces pale and their lungs perpetually rattling. You are deck gantry maintenance, Clan 44. You belong to no one important. It's safer that way.
The society of a rogue trader's vessel is a rigid feudal hierarchy. The Lord Captain is an absolute monarch. His senior officers are the nobility. The vast majority of the crew, however, are hereditary serfs. Their roles are passed from parent to child, their lives bound to the ship for generations. This creates a unique and deeply ingrained social structure, a complex tapestry of clan loyalties and ancient blood feuds that the ship's master-at-arms manages through brutal public displays of force.
The work is simple. The work is endless. Today it's replacing a corroded power conduit on an exterior gantry. The overseer, a thick-necked brute with a clan brand from the forges, shoves a magnetic clamp into your hands. Don't fall, he grunts. It's the only advice he ever gives. Here, the hum of the drives is gone, replaced by a total, terrifying silence. The kind of quiet that presses in on you, that makes you hear the blood pounding in your ears. You focus on the conduit, the rusted bolts, the feel of the wrench in your gloved hand. You don't look down. You don't look out. Looking out is how you go mad. Old Man Hemlock, from the shift before yours, he looked out too long, said he saw faces in the stars, said the void was singing to him. They put him in an agony booth for a cycle to cure him, then spaced him out of an airlock. A waste of a good vac suit, the overseer had said.
The psychological toll of void-born life is immense. Superstition is rampant. The Gellerfield that holds back the horrors of the warp is spoken of in hushed, reverent tones, a fickle deity that must be appeased with prayer and ritual. The ship's machine spirit is a tangible presence, its groans and shudders interpreted as omens. And the void itself is a source of profound existential terror, a canvas upon which the isolated mind projects its deepest fears.
Sudden, violent shudder rocks the entire hull. A deep, deafening boom that vibrates through your bones. Your magnetic clamps hold, but your wrench slips, spiraling away into the black. You cling to the gantry, heart hammering against your rib. The ship is angry. That's the first thought. The machine spirit is roused. Then the rumors start crackling over the work gang's private vox link. A stolen, jury-rigged thing that's worth a flogging if you're caught. Orc freebooters, Corda scum sniffing around again. Heard the Lord Captain wants a new pelt for his throne room. The great men are playing their games again. Winterscale, Corda, names whispered like gods or demons. You saw the Lord Captain once, Caligos Winterscale. He walked the mid-decks after a victory, a giant in gilded armor, his face a mask of scars and fury. He was flanked by his house guard, their armor polished to a mirror sheen. He didn't look at any of us. We were just part of the deck plating to him. But the power, it was like a physical force, pressing the air out of your lungs. They say he loves a worthy enemy. You wonder if he's ever seen an unworthy one. You wonder if he knows our names.
The grand conflicts and economic rivalries that define the Koronus Expanse are, for the lower decks crew, distant and poorly understood phenomena. They are experienced not as strategic maneuvers, but as sudden, terrifying intrusions into their daily routine. The violent shudder of a broadside, a change in the ship's course, the sudden rationing of nutrient paste, or the appearance of a press gang seeking fresh bodies for a boarding party. The complex economic doctrines of feudal conquest and ruthless capitalism are reduced to a simple, brutal reality. The whims of the powerful are the weather of the powerless.
The shift ends. The work is done. The conduit is sealed. You lost a wrench. That will come out of your nutrient ration. You trudge back to the hab block. The corridor is buzzing. A celebration. The ship is victorious. The officers will be drinking amasec on the command bridge. For the lower decks, victory means an extra ration of synth ale, a foul, bitter liquid that burns the throat but numbs the mind. You find your kin brother Jax, his face flushed. He holds up a cup. To the Lord Captain's prophet he slurs, repeating the toast the overseers taught them. You drink. The ale is terrible, but it's better than the nutrient paste. Jax leans in close, his voice a conspiratorial whisper. Heard what the prize was, Xenos tech, from some dead world. They say the Corda bitch was after it too. Worth a planet's ransom, they say.
The illicit coal trade in Xenos artifacts is a primary engine of the Expanse's economy, integral to the wealth of major figures like Aspis Corda. For the crew, it is a source of rumor and fear. They understand, in a vague and superstitious way, that the ship traffics in forbidden things, that their survival is financed by dealings that the priests on the chapel deck condemn as the gravest of sins. This cognitive dissonance is a constant, low-level hum beneath the surface of their indoctrinated loyalty.
You don't care about the prize. You care that you survived another shift. You care that the ale is free tonight. You find a quiet corner and watch the others, the old men, their faces a roadmap of scars and radiation burns, telling the same tired stories of battles you can't imagine. The young women, their eyes hard, bartering for a sliver of real soap or a patch for a torn uniform. The children, born in this steel world, playing games with spent shell casings. This is your life, a cycle of work, fear, and fleeting desperate relief. You are not a brave voidfarer. You are not a pioneer charting the stars. You are a serf. You are human fuel. And tomorrow, the chime will ring again.
The official record speaks of brave voidfarers and loyal crew. The lived reality for subject K-881 is one of hereditary servitude in a generational prison. We must now analyze why this vast chasm between the propaganda and the truth exists, and what purpose it serves. The narrative of the heroic pioneer is a necessary fiction. It is a tool of recruitment and social control, a story told to the land-bound populations of the Imperium to justify the immense expenditure of lives and resources required to project power into the void. It is also a tool of internal control. The festival celebrating a captain's death, the toasts to the Lord Captain's profit, these are rituals designed to sublimate the crew's individual will into the larger purpose of the dynasty. It transforms their servitude into a form of holy duty, their suffering into a noble sacrifice. It is noteworthy to the archivist that the earliest records of the rogue trader from the foundational 1987 treaty by the scribe Rick Priestley describes a more chaotic and individualistic existence. The trader and their crew were famed as outcasts and misfits, adventurers on a dangerous frontier. The modern, rigid narrative of absolute feudal control appears to be a later embellishment, codified in the early 3rd millennium by the scriptorums of Fantasy Flight games. This shift reflects the maturation of the Imperium's own narrative, a dark hardening of its themes from roguish adventure to a more profound and structured Grimdark reality. The story of the rogue trader had to become more oppressive to remain relevant in an increasingly oppressive universe. The economic system of profit factor is the ultimate expression of this deconstruction. It is an abstraction that erases the human cost. An endeavor that costs thousands of lives but increases the dynasty's profit factor by 5 points is, in the cold calculus of the Expanse, a resounding success. The system is designed to quantify power, not morality. The lives of individuals like K-881 are not variables in the equation. They are the fuel the equation consumes. The chasm between the official record and the lived reality is not a flaw in the system. It is the system's primary and most essential feature. We return then to the lower decks of the Emperor's Vow.
The shift chime rings. Another cycle begins. You pull on your boots. You join the river of grey bodies in the corridor. As you pass a junction, you see a new scrawl on the wall, etched in what looks like rust, or maybe dried blood. It's not the usual clan tags or warding sigils. It's a quote from one of the old priests, the ones they don't let preach anymore. Terrors may indeed stalk these shadows, but yonder, a glint of gold. You look at the words for a long moment. You have never seen gold. You have only ever seen the shadows. You turn and walk towards your shift.
We began this report with a question. What is the texture of a single anonymous life spent in the service of a rogue trader's ambition? The archives are clear. The texture is rust and recycled air. It is the grit of nutrient paste and the constant bone-deep hum of the drives. It is the chill of the void on the other side of a thin steel plate. It is the gnawing fear of a pointless death and the desperate, flickering hope for an extra ration of synth ale. The great dynasties of the Koronus Expanse, for all their power and glory, are built upon a foundation of these anonymous lives. The Winterscales, the Corders, the Sauls, their grand economic theories and feudal ambitions are all ultimately powered by the endless hereditary servitude of the uncounted millions who toil in the darkness below their gilded bridges. The true price of profit in the 41st millennium is this: the utter consumption of the human soul, rendered down into a single quantifiable resource. A rogue trader's ambition is not paid for in gold or jewels. It is paid for in the small forgotten hopes and the vast silent fears of men and women like K-881, whose names will never be recorded in any history, save for this one. My report is concluded. The full dossier will be sealed under penalty of heresy. You may append your own approved commentary to the record below. The Ordo Chronos is ever watchful.